Alrighty. Good morning. It's almost afternoon. Good morning, everyone tuning in. We have a great podcast on the Tea Podcast today. We have a guest that many of you may know if you're a foodie like most of us are in South Louisiana. You'll know Jay Ducote's name. He is a Food Network star. He's a chef, a traveler. He's a business owner, a speaker, a storyteller, all that good stuff. There's a ton of stuff to kind of go over, and we'll do that in this episode. But yeah, just want to let you know you're listening to the Tea. All right, Jay. I know you're sharing the video there. So it's cool to have you on. First off, I really appreciate you accepting my invite.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So I want to make sure you get. Were you able to do it?
I hadn't popped up yet, so I'm working on it. But
right.
We can jump in.
Yeah. So Jay is trying to share the live on his Facebook page, and typically Facebook has about a 30 seconds to a minute delay. But today we're going to be talking with Jay about some of the things that he is doing. He's a Baton Rouge native, so if you haven't heard his name, that's probably why. Because if you don't watch TV, he's from Baton Rouge. You're probably in your own Lafayette bubble, but stick around. We're going to be talking with him about all this stuff. So, Jay, go ahead and just kind of tell me a little bit about you. Kind of, obviously, it sounds like you're from the South Louisiana area.
Yep.
So, tell me a little bit about you and kind of how you came to be a chef.
Yeah, so I was born in Baton Rouge, but grew up a significant amount, second grade through high school in the suburban Houston area.
All right.
And then moved back to Baton Rouge to go to LSU. Got degree in economics and political science, then a master's in political science, then decided I wanted nothing to do with politics anymore. I taught high school math for 2 years and coached baseball. Then I got a job working for the state doing policy research and grant writing. And it was kind of when I was at that job that I was bored but I was in a cubicle. I was staring at a computer screen. I wanted something to write about, so I started writing about what I ate for lunch that day. And in 2009, I started a food blog.
It was Booze and Bites or something. Bites and Booze. Yeah,
that's it. And then that took off, and social media was really in its infancy, and I was using that, and certainly for South Louisiana standards was kind of an early adopter of using of doing a food blog and using social media to kind of be one of those very early food influencers.
Yeah.
And it kind of took off, and it brought me to a lot of different places with radio, with TV, with my own product line and restaurant eventually, and cookbook and all sorts of stuff.
All that good stuff. Man, so political science, economics and political science has nothing to do with food. And what you're doing now, it feels like, are you doing anything with that degree, or like did your life just shift all the way?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of shifted all the way, but I will say that one of the things that fascinates me most about food are the studies of culture around food and how certain ingredients are used differently by different cuisines around the world, the economics of food and agriculture, and the amount of our history that really comes from spice trades or sugar trades, tea, coffee, all of those commodities that you don't have to think too hard about them now, but even when things happen, geopolitical events, war in Ukraine, and it's driving up wheat prices, I don't try to just like study that on a daily basis, those sorts of economic things. I'm trying to be a food enthusiast and enjoy it. But I will say that I do use those degrees from time to time because of just being kind of able to understand the bigger picture of all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Man, that's really cool. Like that you can use your degree for that, and all the stuff that you've done in your travels. Like, where? Kind of tell me about like at what point when you had your food blog and you were writing, and at what point did you like I'm trying to get to the point to where Food Network came into the picture.
Gotcha.
Like, how did that come about? Because you were just writing about food. You were not necessarily cooking food at that time, right?
So some of the blog content that I did was about stuff that I was cooking, but it was a very amateur and, home cook kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And documenting tailgate parties and cooking big pots of jambalaya or red beans at a tailgate. And I was doing a little bit of competitive barbecue then.
I remember that.
So I would do some content around the barbecue scene. My first big break there was 2011. I got cast on season 2 of MasterChef. So I was actually on the second season of that Gordon Ramsay show on Fox. I'm only in episode 1, so you don't have to go back and watch the entire second season to see it. I was cast as one of the top 100 amateur chefs in the country, and I got flown out to Los Angeles to film that TV show, and I made Gordon Ramsay a herb roasted rack of venison and Cajun shrimp and cornbread stuffed bell pepper, and he like cut right into the heart of the stuffed bell pepper and took a taste of it, and he just didn't say a word. He handed me a fork and made me taste it myself.
Did he curse?
Yeah. I said, it needs more salt, chef. And he says, more salt. It needs more everything. The venison's cooked perfectly, but the bell pepper, it's bland. What a shame. What a shame.
Oh, God.
And he walked off, and I didn't get an apron. And I came back home and went back to my day job. And, but was, just essentially had to make a decision of just like, do I just give up on this? And, keep this blog and stuff as a hobby, and just, get back to work at the day job. Or what happened is I was just like, but I really I didn't win MasterChef. I didn't even get out of the first round. It was like on American Idol. Like I got to Hollywood, but then I got sent home real fast. I could have just thrown in the towel, but I really looked at that as something that I enjoyed doing. I liked doing it. I knew I had a lot to learn, especially about cooking and those kind of things. And so I just kind of dedicated myself to it even more. And that's when I started doing radio and podcasts, and really started ramping up social media, started cooking a lot more, doing pop-up dinners and private dinners and things along those lines. And so a couple years later, one of the casting directors from MasterChef reached out about casting for Cutthroat Kitchen on Food Network. And so I got on that show, and I made it past the first round. I got eliminated in the second round, so I didn't get to cook the third round. But it was a great experience. It's a game show with food.
Yeah.
But it was kind of back on a TV set and getting to do that. And then once I had that little bit of Food Network exposure, and I think I represented myself really well despite not winning the episode. 2015 came around, and I ended up getting on to Food Network Star. And so that's the big one for me was doing season 11 of Food Network Star. The premise of that show was if you win, you get your own show on Food Network. You essentially get onto their talent roster. And I ended up finishing runner-up, but then got the chance to do a pilot for my own show. But it was right when Travel Channel and Food Network, who are owned by the same parent company, were having all sorts of internal turmoil and leadership issues. And my pilot ended up getting passed around. It aired on the Travel Channel and then never got picked up.
Aww,
so
come on.
I've had a pilot for my own show air on Travel Channel, but that season of Food Network Star was huge. I mean, that's what really, really put me on the map. I had fortunately in Louisiana and South Louisiana laid a lot of groundwork already with the blog, with the radio show, I had my barbecue sauce out at that time. And there were a lot of things that I was doing in MasterChef and Cutthroat Kitchen. But Food Network Star was really kind of what blew everything up.
Yeah. I mean, I remember after the Food Network Star episode and the season, all of a sudden I started seeing your name more, like the barbecue sauces, and you even opened up a restaurant.
Yeah.
Government Taco, right?
That's right. So in really the fall of 2015, after the summer of Food Network Star, some developers that were building out a spot that was called White Star Market in Baton Rouge as a food hall in mid-city Baton Rouge. They reached out saying, I'm first on their list to get a spot in the food hall. And I had a team at the time, and we all talked about it. And it was just kind of, we can just keep doing blogs and radio shows and talking about what we would love for our food scene to have, or
actually do it.
We can be part of doing it, and my answer was kind of, or both. We can do both, right? But you're right. Instead of just complaining about we don't have a gourmet taco shop, or this food hall doesn't have all the right options, like we could be part of the solution as well. So that. I said yes to that, but construction hadn't even started. They were working on construction in 2016 when the big floods happened. Mm-hmm. That pushed everything back. So the food hall ended up not opening until 2018. But I opened Government Taco in that location on Government Street, and that was me doing something with my political science degrees. And that's where Government Taco really came from. And so we operated in the food hall from 2018 until right at the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the pandemic killed it, essentially. The whole food hall shut down, but we had actually already started construction on a brick and mortar location. So that opened in 2020. And so that was my restaurant, and Government Taco was great. It's still there. I'm out of it now. Okay. So actually at the end of last year, the very end of 2022 going into 2023, I had a change in direction for myself, and I was able to kind of step away from a lot of the stuff that I had started and focus on new adventures. So,
well, let's talk about that after my sponsors here, because it sounds like there's a good bit, and some of it you have mentioned here. So first, my first sponsor, if you haven't seen before already, is the Music Academy of Acadiana. So Acadiana's top choice for music lessons. So if you want to get started, whether you're young, old, beginner, professional, the Music Academy of Acadiana has everything for you. So if you want to learn drums, violin, saxophone, if you want to learn audio production, which that seems to be what a lot of people are going towards nowadays, because, audio production in general is a very popular kind of behind-the-scenes thing, because not everybody's musically inclined on an instrument. I know I like to play drums, but I'm not going to say that I can go play with a band or anything like that, but the production side is really cool. They have an in-house music studio too, so they are recording studio, so they can actually help you record an album after you've taken a lot of their classes. So it's a full kind of circle moment there. Founded locally by Tim Benson, who's a UL Lafayette Music School graduate. So great company. Their goal is to make music lessons fun, educational, to help foster the next generation of musicians and creative thinkers. You can check them out at musicacademyacadiana.com, and of course Facebook, Instagram, all those other places. And then we have Chase Group Construction. They are a design, build company, general contractor, and land developer that specializes in design and construction. Like I said, as a design build company, they combine the cost awareness of a contractor and the benefit of a design process of an architect all in one company. So it's founded locally as well, because we all like to push local around here, by Chase Landry, who is the owner founder of Chase Group Construction. You can check them out at chasegroupconstruction.com, and they're also on Facebook. Their Facebook is really cool, with tons of videos of their progress of different construction sites that they're a part of. And they've also built the Broussard and Bro Bridge location of Fat Pat's restaurant. So really cool design there. So if you want to see some of their work, just go have a burger and check out their space. All right. So with that, we are going to get back to the topic at hand with Jay Ducote here. Okay. So you mentioned you got out of Government Taco. First of all, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I thought you had just been in it, and Government Taco has just been a thing. But I've noticed, I guess, that you haven't really pushed it on your Facebook page all that much. But I was like, okay, maybe it's just because it's cruising and it is what it is. Why did you get out of Government Taco?
It's a great question. So to try to sum it up here, in 2019, I actually had the opportunity to join forces with a company in Baton Rouge called Guarantee Media. And they're who I had my radio show with since 2011. And they essentially offered to purchase all of my companies, the JD's product line, Government Taco, Bite and Booze, and bring it all under their umbrella. And the thought was for me to be able to focus more on the creative stuff and being me, and them handle more of the stuff that I struggled with, the bookkeeping, the HR, the back end, stuff, payroll. And so that ended up happening. So in 2019, I actually sold those companies and stayed on as the president of them, the executive in charge of them, as well as an expanded role with their radio stations and things like that. Then 2020, the pandemic hit. It was a really tricky time for restaurants, tricky time for radio stations, tricky time for everybody. We fought through that. We did a lot together. But as 2022 was really making its way through, and with what the restaurant was doing and what I really wanted to focus my career on, we just didn't quite align, with what they wanted out of me and what I wanted to do. And so we decided at the end of last year to just part ways. So yeah, it's a big change, because now I started Government Taco. I sold it, but stayed on board to continue to be the face of it and ultimately be in charge of it. And then at the end of last year, I kind of walked away from it.
Yeah.
And same thing with the retail product line with the barbecue sauce and molasses mustard and barbecue rubs. And really that Bite and Booze brand is, it's theirs. It's pretty much dead as well, but it's not mine anymore. It's theirs.
Okay. So what are you doing specifically now? Like, what is your baby? What are you growing? What are you fostering? Or maybe you're not fostering anything. Maybe you're enjoying this time of traveling and exploring the world. What are you doing now that complements what you're doing in the middle of the 2010s?
So I'd say it's a little bit of both of those things, trying to kind of foster in something new and also make sure I'm enjoying this time, right? So a big part of what I've been doing, and a big part of what I really wanted to do more of, that's maybe where we had some disagreements with my previous employer, was that I really wanted to be able to travel more and to be able to dictate my own schedule, to be able to work from anywhere, and to get out and see and taste the world, and create content about that. So that's a big part of what I've been working on, is really shifting my career to the travel side of the food and drink world, kind of saying, like, it's time for me to Baton Rouge is my home, Louisiana is my home, but I want to get out and see the rest of the world, and so I'm going to be doing a lot of that. The first thing I have coming up is actually starting at the end of March and goes all the way through April. I'm doing a 7 or 8 stop jambalaya tour along the eastern part of the United States, and so I'm actually going to be bring in a big cast iron pot, a big 10-gallon pot, and everything that I need. And I'm cooking jambalaya at farmers markets and breweries, starting in the Atlanta area, and then Knoxville, Asheville, Norfolk, Virginia, a couple spots in Pennsylvania. So, just kind of taking Louisiana culture on the road with me.
Yeah. So you're going to do that through what's your content medium? Are you going to be writing about it? Are you going to be making YouTube videos or TikToks? What does that look like?
Great question there too. I got to figure some of that out. Without a doubt, a lot of shorter form content. A lot of Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter style content that just goes out there and is kind of immediately consumable and more. Maybe some of it could be live, but more very, recent edits. I think I will also really try to be intentional about recording some video that's a little bit longer form that's intended for YouTube and some of that sort of medium, horizontal landscape video instead of vertical video.
And you got to be, get conscious about that. Yeah, like you got to actually want to do both landscape and portrait mode video.
You have to want to do both. That's right. And most of what I've been doing recently has really turned into catering to Instagram Reels and TikTok.
Right, because they're forcing you to watch videos like that.
I used to be very against vertical videos.
Agreed.
Agreed. I have had to condition myself. This is the sign of age, I guess. Like, the new generation is just so used to vertical video. They don't understand why TVs are horizontal. What's that, Lynn? Aspect ratio. Why is a movie not a vertical?
First of all, the term aspect ratio is probably new to a lot of people.
Also true.
Because, 2010s was kind of the time where, like you said, I've been a proponent of, it's got to be horizontal, like videos meant to be recorded horizontal, like fighting videos. Like when you scroll through Facebook and you see like a brawl and everybody's recording it vertical and it's like shaky. Like, no, film it sideways.
Yeah, film it sideways.
But actually what's crazy, especially since 2020 and when TikTok kind of blew up, and we'll go back to your
this is a good tangent though.
But I love tangents, by the way, not to go on another tangent there, but I realized in the past 3 years, there have been almost zero content on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere that is trying to get people to film horizontally.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming such a norm now to see vertical videos that, and I've seen some really nice vertical videos. So nice that it immerses you in it and you forget you're watching a vertical video. Yeah. I'm like, crap, I really enjoyed that video and it's vertical.
Yeah, I think you're right about it. It was TikTok that finally broke it for me. And Instagram Reels has done a great job with it as well.
Yeah.
But it finally got to the point where I was just like, wait a second, I need to start filming more vertically because content is going out more vertically and I like it. And because we hold our phones vertically,
right?
Like the so much more of our content that we're consuming right now is on our phones.
Yeah,
and the phone is a vertical screen. Yes, you can turn it sideways and have it horizontal as well, but the natural position to be able to just thumb through things and use our phone as it's intended is vertical. The screen is vertical, and I agree that it's kind of taken a couple years to make that switch. But now I've made it, and now I kind of think, when somebody shows a landscape video on TikTok or something,
weird.
I'm just like, why are you doing this? Just zoom in and make it vertical.
Right.
And obviously there's some videos that it's really hard to do that with. And the only way to, like, with the way you have this camera set up right now, and we're on each side, like, to turn that into vertical, you've got to chop.
Oh, you got to chop it up.
Which person are you focusing in? We can't both be in the shot at the same time.
Exactly. I've tried to edit for vertical, and I'm like, God, it's just too much right now, and I can't like focus on it. So
you'd have to have a 2 vertical camera setup and a switcher, and be active with going back and forth, which is a whole nother ball game. But anyway, so I know I'm going to be recording a lot of vertical video content of cooking jambalaya and stuff, a lot of imagery and things along those lines. But I really probably should also make sure I'm getting some horizontal video for
longer form
for YouTube edits, because YouTube I still want. I know they have their shorts platform, but I really still want that to be more traditional horizontal format.
And another thing too, YouTube pays more. If you're monetized, YouTube pays like, I want to say it's like 60-40 or 50, it's almost 50-50-ish. And then TikTok, it's like dramatically less, like pennies versus what YouTube, if you're popular on YouTube, like you can make a living. Yeah. But TikTok is more of like a side hustle, I guess, in the influencer world. And then Facebook in October of last year started actually paying creators like that have business pages and all that. And so we actually get paid from Facebook to continue to make content, which is weird. Like I was in that school of thought of like, oh, I got to pay Facebook for engagement. But I think Facebook now realizes, and of course this is Meta, the whole company with Instagram. Yep. They realize that their competition is TikTok. And it's driving a lot of people off of Facebook. Like Facebook's the old man platform now. Oh yeah. Now in Lafayette area for sure, it's still dominant. Like I stick to Facebook mostly, and then I have a good Instagram. But it's weird to see Facebook paying, and they're trying to keep their creators on the platform, which is also probably good for you to kind of keep in mind too. So just putting that out there.
Yeah, I need to look at Facebook monetization strategies. I haven't done anything with that. I do a little bit through Instagram Reels. They have some monetization behind some of that. So
I think it would be the same Meta back end. Yeah, probably.
Okay. I'll look at it.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So going to the videos, you were talking about doing the Jambalaya tour.
Yeah.
You have to be familiar with the Stale Cracker guy, right?
Oh yeah. I know who he is. I've never met him. I saw him at Hogs for the Cause last year, but yeah.
So this guy is doing something similar at times, like not every time. It's like he doesn't actively do it. He's not on a tour or anything, but like he'll make videos of making jambalaya or like these big old pots of stuff for like donations to like for like firefighters and all that. And the get up this guy has with the mullet and everything. And I think he's like a police officer, a state trooper or something.
Yeah.
But like, it's so crazy to think about how like whenever you started Bite and Booze and whenever I started developing Lafayette, how content creation has changed so much. And by doing this tour, like utilizing that, I think that is the perfect thing to kind of springboard what you're going to be doing. I mean, so what other cities are you going to be going to? So you mentioned Atlanta. How far up?
Yeah. So Atlanta, 2 stops there. And then that's like March 25th and March 31st. Then I'll be in Knoxville, Tennessee, then Asheville, North Carolina, Norfolk, Virginia, Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and then Audubon, which is suburban Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right, so how did you schedule those? Like, did you just have to call somebody and say, "Hey, y'all want jambalaya?"
Yeah. So the destinations are really based on where I wanted to go on a road trip. So and it's where I have people that I'll be staying with, and so it's designed to get me where I want to go. But then I kind of said, well, if I'm going to go hang out with my brother for a week in Knoxville, let me find a brewery there to do one of these pop-ups at. And so I'll be at Zool Beer Company, which is an awesome microbrewery in Knox.
Man, so this is cool. So that far up, I guess, because, I mean, they still consider themselves the South, which I think is preposterous, but that far up.
It's a totally different version of the South. The Gulf Coast versus Appalachia are totally different, but like, understandably still Southern.
Yeah. So are they familiar, or is that area of the world familiar with jambalaya at all? Like, do they?
No, it's gonna be a pretty foreign dish. I mean, they're gonna know what it is, right? Yeah. Like they're going to know of jambalaya. I think the response is going to be pretty good, because I think we'll get a lot of people that just find it's interesting that somebody truly is coming from Louisiana to cook like that, and they want to come taste it. And then I think other people, people maybe that are from Louisiana that live in those cities now are going to flock to it, because they'd have to come back to Louisiana to get something like that. So I think it'll go over really well. I know the breweries that I'm working with that I've reached out to, and yeah, the answer to your question is kind of, once I knew where I was going, I started researching breweries in those cities that had food pop-ups and stuff like that. And, you know, a lot of those were just cold emails.
Yeah.
Some of them are places that I've worked with before. I'll be at New Trail Brewing in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I've done a live radio broadcast from there before and you know, hung out with them. So that was kind of reaching back out to somebody that I had worked with before saying, hey, this time, how about I cook a pot of jambalaya outside the brewery instead of do a radio show? And they're like, yeah.
So
sounds good.
I guess like, okay, I haven't been that far up into the East Coast side. Like their food and their version of what is seasoned and everything, I know it's different than ours, but are they going to be, is there like, do you expect them to be like blown away like from the flavors? Like what are you expecting? What is your
I want to give them a really kind of traditional Cajun jambalaya, what we would see at LSU tailgate parties and stuff like that. That, you know, that's definitely the style that I'm cooking. Pork, chicken, sausage. I'm bringing all the sausage and rice with me.
Oh yeah, you gotta bring it.
'Cause, you know, chicken and pork shoulder I can get anywhere. You can't find Louisiana smoked sausage or even like really good Louisiana long grain rice everywhere. So I'm going to be bringing that stuff with me. Slappy Mama Cajun Seasonings on board as a sponsor and to provide seasoning and hot sauce. So I'm gonna be working with them. And yeah, I mean, I think I want to make just a nice classic jambalaya that might be a little spicier than what a lot of those people are used to. But I'd say I don't want to make it overly spicy because we'll have hot sauce there for people that want to add some heat. So I won't go too crazy with the Slappy Mama seasoning. I'll also bring some salt and black pepper, so it's not just all Cajun seasoning for my salt, but yeah, I mean, I want it to be full of flavor. I want them to taste it and be like, oh man, that's good.
Right. Okay. So I want to go back a little bit to the Food Network kind of era of your life.
Sure.
I was looking on your website, and for those that are wondering what Jay Ducote's website is, it's pretty simple. jducote.com. I have it on your screen there, and it's also in the caption. But there's a photo of you doing some cooking, and I believe this is one of the Bobby Flay shows. Is it Beat Bobby Flay?
That's Beat Bobby Flay, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the photo here, and that is crawfish, correct?
Yeah, I challenged Bobby Flay to a crawfish boil.
Okay, and obviously, if you've gone to the website, which was what I did, and you won it, but tell me a little bit about that scenario. Like, did Bobby Flay seem confident?
I mean, I'd say yes. The guy's pretty unflappable in the kitchen and knows what he's doing. That being said, after I told him I was challenging him to a crawfish boil, once the cameras actually shut down and they were moving stuff around and repositioning and getting ready for the cooking shoot, he looked at me and he was like, that's a really good call. I've never cooked that in my life. He's like, I've eaten boiled crawfish before. I've never cooked it.
And boiled crawfish is not exclusive to the South. Because I think they have a crawfish festival in California.
So that's right. I mean, you can find events related to crawfish boils. Those are usually done in the Louisiana way. Obviously, in Houston, Austin, Dallas, even as far away as Atlanta, going east, you can find places that are doing boiled crawfish or that bring crawfish in. But I mean, that's the South. Once you get out of the South, where there's enough Louisiana culture or it's easy enough to ship live crawfish, it starts to get really rare. Now, like the LSU Alumni Association in Chicago does an annual crawfish boil. Nice. I mean, there's an annual crawfish boil with that group of Louisiana people in Vegas
but they know.
and Los Angeles. But to just go find readily available boiled crawfish in
that's impossible.
Those sorts of cities. It's not going to happen. So yeah, it was a dish that he had really never cooked before, and he basically tried to blanch them. I mean, I think the wise chef in him said, don't overcook it.
Yeah.
It's like a lobster, but a little baby lobster. Like
that was his thought process.
It needs like a couple minutes in the boiling water and then pull it out. So, and he didn't flavor his water very much.
Did he season on top and not the...
And I don't know that he even really did that. I mean, I think his crawfish were bland and
blanched.
Probably cooked great if you were just pulling the tail meat out and then making an étouffée with that tail meat, but like, I mean, that's what all of the judges said. They were just like, these, pointing at mine, have flavor, these do not. And like he did corn and potato, but he made like a crawfish fat butter and put it around a piece of grilled corn on the cob.
Way too complicated.
And he made a crawfish boiled potato salad with his potatoes. I just had corn and potatoes in my boil, and his stuff was, I mean, it looked good, and I think it was impressive as a dish. But in the end, the judges were like, yeah, but like he challenged you to a crawfish boil, and these boiled crawfish are definitely better.
Yeah.
So I won.
God, that is crazy. So obviously you said off camera, he said he never cooked it before. So you knew you probably had an edge.
Yeah. And an edge for sure. But I also knew first, if I didn't win, it wasn't going to be good.
Because you're representing Louisiana.
Not sure I can go home after
Nobody's
that.
going to want to eat anything that you cook. They're like, hey.
It's also Bobby Flay, and he wins 70% of those episodes.
Right. Now, if you're going to challenge Bobby Flay to like a burger cook-off, you're probably going to lose.
You should be expecting to lose.
Because he's going to have some fancy like aiolis and purees and different things, and like you're just gonna be like, you know what? I just have Evangeline made bread buns. Like,
could win depending on the judge.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's so. The crawfish boil was very intentional for that, and but yeah, glad I won. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you've also been on Chopped and some other stuff too. Like, I'm a big fan of Chopped. I don't know if it still plays. I think it might.
Yeah, Chopped is still they're still making new ones, and it still airs plenty.
Like, what I loved about that show, and I still do, is that of course there's 3 rounds. There's an appetizer, entree, and then there's your dessert. But the fact that they give you these items that you know for a fact you probably have never cooked with, and you got to figure out how to make a dish that's edible with this random thing. Like, for example, some people may not have cooked with octopus or squid before. Like, you got to figure that out. There was some odd things. I mean, it's been so many episodes and it's been a while, but for your episode, what did you have to make, or like what ingredients were you given, and then how far did you make it down?
So Chopped, I did not make it to the dessert round. So I got past the first round, got eliminated in the second round when they were going from 3 down to 2. And there were some storylines there and everything else. Like, looking back, it is what it is. Let's see. The first round was I made a salad course. It's super short, that first round. I think we had like mangoes and white barbecue sauce, and man, I'd have to go back and rewatch that episode to know for sure. I know the second round when I got eliminated, I made my barbecue rub. Like, I got all the ingredients to make it, and we had a whole spatchcock chicken, so the whole chicken with the backbone cut out. But I cut it into different pieces and grilled it. And it was the episode of Chop that I was on came out. It aired during the Winter Olympics in 2018.
Okay.
So we filmed it 2017. But it was the episode was called the Chopped Gold Medal Games. So it was a tournament of sorts. It was a 5-episode tournament. There were 4 episodes, and the winner of all 4 of them competed in the final one, and it basically coincided with when the Olympics were on. So I was in the grilling episode of the Chopped Gold Medal Games. So everything we had to do, they basically had, it was all indoors on the Chopped set, but they had 2 of the burners on our stove covered with like a cast iron grill grate.
Oh, nice.
And they just said, like, no matter what, you have to grill something. And like the judges are looking for how well do you incorporate grilled into your dish. We didn't have outdoor grills, charcoal, anything like that. It was just like a cast iron grill pan on a gas stove.
So basically the grill marks is what they're looking for.
And also, I mean, and that took up half of our stove. But other than that, it was an episode of Chopped.
Yeah. So my question, I guess, about Chopped, they have a time limit. And I think some of it's like 30 minutes or an hour or so. And then some of them, I think it's like 2 or 3 hours. Like, is that real time limits that they're giving you? Or is that just like made up and you have all the time you want?
Yeah. I've been impressed. Every one of these shows that I've been on, when they say what the time is, that's the time.
Okay.
If they say 45 minutes on the clock, time starts now, that's real.
Okay, that's good to know.
And I have not been on any episode of any competition cooking show where that wasn't the case, where they said it's 45 minutes, but then they were like, okay, y'all actually have 2 hours, but we're going to edit it down to make it like that. That's never happened.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. Cause man, I love watching those shows, and I'm always thinking, is that real time? Like, are they just trying to paint a picture? Like my thoughts always run through my head.
It's real, and it's always a percentage for sure, but 5 or 10 minutes less than what you would actually want to cook what you're trying to cook.
Yeah.
I mean, if they say it's 20 minutes, it's just like, man, okay, but I really wish I had 25 or 30.
Yeah, because just to prep, just to get...
If they say 45 minutes, it's like, I wish I had an hour.
Yeah.
Just to, to actually prep and, cook
process
everything.
What you're trying to do.
And get every element done to the desire that you want it. The longest round I've ever been in was an hour. There were several competitions on Food Network Star where we had an hour. Food Network, historically, their shows, their game shows, Chopped, Cutthroat, Beat Bobby Flay. The first round of Beat Bobby Flay is 20 minutes. The second round, when you're actually going against Bobby, is 45. Chopped, it was like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that.
Oh, I mean, that's so short.
They're all short. I've never done Top Chef on Bravo. I don't know. Now I think I could hold my own. I think 5-8 years ago, I would have gotten smoked. I wasn't. When I did Food Network Star, my culinary skills were not ready to do, Top Chef.
Yeah.
And I still don't know. I mean, I'm not a restaurant chef. I'm not in the kitchen all day, every day. I still do a lot of writing and radio about podcasts or social media stuff. I mean, I think I've gotten really good at the food part of it, but I'm not trying to say I'm like top chef level. But with that being said, what I do like about that show is that they have a lot of challenges where they actually do give like 2 or 3 hours to prep and then come back the next day and have 2 hours to get your dish finished. And you can actually do some way more interesting food with those sorts of time constraints, because you can braise or grill or smoke something, or like you can't do a 14-hour brisket, but you can do something.
Yeah.
Whereas all the Food Network shows that I've done, it's rapid fire cooking. You don't have time to let something proof. You don't have time to let something really. I mean, you can't do something that you would need to bake for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Or anything that you would have to, and this messes a lot of people up with sauces or decorations or anything like that. Like if you're doing a cake or something, like you don't have time to let the cake cool so you can put the icing on it.
Right.
You know, like it's there's just so much of that kind of stuff that you can't do.
Like on Chopped, I would always laugh whenever somebody tries to use the ice cream machine to make ice cream. I'm like, you don't have time. Like, why are you trying to like shove like milk and stuff into this machine and freeze it? Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And some of them have made it, but yeah, for the most part, they end up failing on that aspect. And it's interesting too. I feel like Louisiana, the South as a whole, but Louisiana specifically, has had a lot of airtime on the Travel Channel, the Food Network channel, just whatever channel that deals with food and like travel, just in this area. Like, what do you know, like, if there's a reason for that? Is there like an executive that lives here? I know there's like, on Chopped, one of the judges, I think he lives in New Orleans area, and he's opening up a restaurant in the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles.
That's right.
But like, is there like a reason why Louisiana, besides having great food and like an interesting cultural place and a travel destination, like, is there another reason why, or do you think that's like?
No, I think that's the reason. I think it's because the producers of those shows know that Louisiana actually has a story to tell with our cuisine and with our culture, and it noticeably different than the rest of the country. I think for them, when they're looking at it, like Southern, anything virtually, at Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, most of North Carolina, most of Tennessee, most of Kentucky, you can kind of panhandle of Florida. You can kind of lump it all together, right?
Yeah,
right. That's that's Southern Arkansas,
which
for the
is
most part,
so
right?
arguable, but whatever.
But they're gonna like biscuits and cornbread, and they're gonna like like they can all agree on all these things and just be like, that's Southern food. But like Cajun and Creole food,
very different,
are a whole different food group. And the only other place in the South that you truly get a regional cuisine like that is like you probably just have to go to Miami and get, like, that's not Southern,
right?
Like Miami, you're getting so many Latin influences, and like, you're getting so much out of Cuba, and you're getting it's different, right? The predominant cuisine in Miami, like Miami's not the South,
right? It's
culturally,
different. It's different.
South Louisiana is also not the South culturally, but the rest of the South is.
Yeah, like North Louisiana is South.
Yeah.
South Louisiana is different. Like, I feel like I've joked a lot of people with this, but I think you can probably cut the Louisiana state in half, and they're two completely different states.
In a lot of ways, absolutely. I think they are geographically close enough to still get crawfish boils and still get want gumbo when it gets cold. They're still part of Louisiana, and I try to be an ambassador for the whole state. I've had some great trips up to Shreveport and Monroe, great breweries up there, Flying Tiger, great raft, Seventh Tap in Shreveport. It's awesome. So make your way to North Louisiana, go eat and drink. There's actually stuff to eat and drink there.
There's actually stuff up there.
But culturally, Shreveport's
different.
probably closer to Dallas than it is to Lafayette or New Orleans culturally.
Yeah. It's like Lake Charles. Lake Charles is closer to Texas.
Dallas maybe isn't quite. East Texas, though.
Yeah. The whole East Texas influence. And then like as you get closer to the northern part of the state, especially the Ruston, Monroe area, it's very South Arkansas-y. The dialect of the accents and the language, all that stuff changes. Like even like just north of Ville Platte, I feel like Ville Platte has like that in the Avoyelles Parish area, because Ville Platte and Avoyelles, they're pretty close. That's kind of when you start to you start to realize that the Cajun French flair of language and the what I like to call redneck language kind of start to blend, and then the Cajun part of it disappears. But I feel like Louisiana people as a whole, North and South, align themselves with Cajun. Like, I'm Louisiana, I'm Cajun, because as a national scope of it, I guess you could say we are, but when you narrow it down, it's so different. It's so different. Like rice and gravy is more dominant in North Louisiana, whenever here it's more soup like gumbos, and then you have your jambalayas and your bisque and all that type of stuff. But North Louisiana, they do a lot of like squirrel gravies and different things like. Yeah. And I was raised a lot of that, a lot of the foods that they cooked, I didn't eat because I'm like I'm not eating that, but.
I've had a good bit of squirrel gravy in my day. But Voiles Parish squirrel gravy, I guess. That's what my dad, my grandma would cook.
And I guess it blends on the Cajun stuff because Cajuns eat weird stuff. So I guess there's a blend there, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's all. I mean, that's Southern and that's eating off the land. That's finding a way to feed yourself. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I think all over Evangeline and Avoyles and those kind of places, that first weekend in October when squirrel season gets here, there's a lot of people that live for that. It's the first hunting season of the fall to open up. I guess maybe some teal, a little bit of duck season before that, but yeah. So my dad's from Avoyles Parish, the Ducote family. The Ducote name mostly, if you track it back far enough, comes from Avoyles Parish and from the true, French, the Cajun French, the Acadie, the exiled out of Canada and came over here, and they just went farther north, but Avoyles, like you said, like that Ville Platte, Marksville line, once you go much farther north than that, you're not getting those French descendants anymore. You're getting more of the English, more you get out of the Catholics and you get into the Baptists.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is the French were Catholics, the English were Protestant, and I mean that's it. The history of it all is really neat. When you really look at all of it, like with that lens, and you realize why these cultures are so different. I mean, you can look at, if you just try to like Google a map of the United States by percentage of population that's Catholic, like
we have a strong percentage here.
South Louisiana, up there around like Boston, and because
anywhere else, I mean, it's all Protestant feeling. I was raised Pentecostal, and I know Pentecostal and Baptist churches in the northern Louisiana area are like dominant.
Yep.
Like that's pretty much all you see. And whenever I moved to Lafayette, it was just all Catholic. I'm like, dang, it's so different.
So different. So, and I'm completely non-denominational, but like just observing it, you realize how much difference that the centuries of history with that have made.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it affects, culture too, like religious, just religion in itself affects culture and vice versa. So it's an interesting thing, but I want to get to a couple more things. I have here that you recently joined Fora Travel.
Yeah. So I'm
a travel advisor.
Yeah, I'm a certified travel advisor now. So that's one of the things that I'm doing in this kind of new era of me with as much traveling as I'm doing. I've had a lot of requests over the years, and especially now as I'm traveling more, there's a lot more people that are asking me for travel advice or asking me for whether it's tips or help or where to go, or hey, I'm going here. What should I eat? What should I see? What should I do? So I've actually taken the steps with a company called Fora that I'm now a certified travel advisor, and I can help people plan trips, book stays, get some really cool perks from hotels and all-inclusive resorts and stuff like that. So anybody that has trips planned, whether you already have something planned, if it's booked directly through the hotel, I can probably help you do more with that. If you used like an online travel agency, a Expedia or booking.com or hotels.com, there's probably nothing I can really do. I can try. But if you have something that you book directly through the hotel, I can definitely do something with that. Or something along those lines. and then also just, helping plan stuff. I mean, I think that's a big part of it. There's a lot of trips that I'm trying to do that I want to encourage people to come with me. But there's way more people that are doing their own vacations, their own trips, that want to do a cruise, that want to, go see somewhere, and they want somebody to kind of help point them in the right direction of where to eat, or what should they really see while they're there.
I like that. So a travel advisor and a travel agent are
these days really the same thing.
Okay,
that the term is interchangeable. The industry has kind of moved away from the agent
it sounds too weird, too official,
and kind of move towards the advisor term.
Got it.
And all of that, like, there's a renaissance in that world right now. I think a big part of it is coming out of COVID, when we were all on lockdown and nobody got to travel. Now everybody's got an itch to travel. I also think we're seeing basically kind of the pendulum swing back a little bit from everything went online. And as soon as everything went online, the Expedias and Travelocities of the world took over the market.
Right.
And your traditional travel agent couldn't really keep up. And a lot of them really struggled during that time. And I think now we're seeing the pendulum kind of swing back to where the hotels and the resorts, the cruises, don't really like working at bargain prices with all these online travel agencies. They would much rather work with a travel agent or a travel advisor, and
I'm pretty sure they lose a lot of
have that loyalty. Profit. Yeah, I mean, so those websites are getting so much commission,
because I mean they're essentially advertising for the hotel.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they take a lot.
So right. So what they really want is to be working with travel planners, travel advisors, travel agents, whatever you want to call them, and have those bookings come directly to them. I can get the exact same price as the hotels.com of the world for the most part, but basically instead of hotels.com getting a 25-30% commission from the hotel, like, I'll get a 10%, 12% commission. But so the hotel would rather book that with me. They also would way rather work with people that have a face, that have a name, that have a brand, that are doing their own thing, connection, and that can then hopefully recommend that hotel or resort or cruise line to a lot of other people. Like it's sales.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there. So yeah, it's been a really fun industry to start to really do a deep dive in and learn about and work on that certification that I've got now for doing the travel advising, and to really like get inside of an industry and see how it works. You see how it really works, and who are the players, and how do they actually want it to go down?
Yeah,
like the big hotels of the world don't actually like all the online travel stuff. I mean, it helps. It's nice for a customer. And like, if you're just looking to book one hotel room at the cheapest price you can get, I mean, as
quick
you're
and dirty,
going through on a road trip,
right?
Pull up an app. Nothing wrong with that. But
to plan a vacation from the beginning to the end, like, that's when you would come in handy.
Yeah, or if you're going to be somewhere for 5 or 6 days and you want that to be, something a little bit more special, or the industry term is kind of to VIP the client. Like, when I call a hotel and say I'm a travel advisor, I've got one of my clients staying at your hotel, can you do something for them? Like, the answer is going to be yes. If you're booking through Expedia, you don't have someone like, you basically get flagged. One of the things I learned when you book through one of the online websites, and again, like, if you're just on a road trip and you just need a place to crash, that's what they should be there for,
right? Because
you're basically getting flagged to the hotel that you are not a valuable customer, essentially. Like, you booked the cheapest possible room, you're in and out, you're going to have no loyalty to that hotel brand, to that particular hotel, you're passing through when you're getting a room, and they know that.
Yeah.
They're going to put you in the worst room. They're going to put you, and all, like, you're not getting any perks. You're not getting any special service. You are flagged by that hotel. Like, they're still going to take care of you. You're still going to check in. You're going to get your hotel room. You're going to have a place to sleep for the night. You did it at the best price. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if you're trying to go to Paris for 5 days, like, that's not the experience that you want,
right?
And travel advisors, like, can actually work with those hotels and still get you a very similar, if not the same price as what you could get on those websites, but with all the VIP perks that could come with it.
So what's interesting, and you talked about being flagged, I used to be the guy that would book only through Priceline or Expedia, stuff like that. And then not long, probably 3-4 years ago, I started downloading all of the hotel apps. They started coming up with good apps. They have rewards, and you join their little their reward system, and then you get a number. And
do the Hilton Honors.
So
the Hyatt.
I love Hilton. I love Hilton. Just Hilton is the best. That's my stance. But getting out of the Expedia stuff, whenever I would go check in at a hotel, I'd be behind, a couple of people waiting to get checked in, and somebody in front of me would be having a hard time getting checked in for whatever reason, this and that. And I would overhear kind of the conversation because I'm nosy, and because South Louisiana, we're all nosy. And I could hear the person, the clerk, mention you booked on a third party website.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh God, I don't want to be the third party guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a third party guy. Like, I want to be a first party guy. So I said, you know what? I'm going to download the apps, because the hotels have actually, even on TV now, or, ads you'll see, the hotels are like, hey, we can give you the same rate that you're paying on Expedia or Priceline.
Yep.
Just come straight to us and we'll give you what you need.
Yep.
And so I said, yeah, I started doing it. And sure enough, I started booking hotels through it, and like my entrance into the hotel, the check-in, all that is seamless, like with digital keys and everything.
Yeah,
like I love
those
that.
digital keys. They're
love
like,
it.
I've been waiting for that near field technology stuff to catch up with that kind of stuff, and now we're seeing cars start to do it, where like the key fob that you have for a vehicle that like has kind of replaced the key in a lot of cars. Yeah, now you can start to get that basically in your phone.
I know, that's so crazy.
And like unlock your doors and do all that. Now it also means somebody steals your phone, they can steal your car.
Right.
But if they're stealing your keys, they're probably taking more.
Yeah.
Who knows? To me, it's like one less thing to have to keep up with. If I can program my vehicle key into the technology of my phone, now you got to make sure your phone doesn't die.
Right.
Have a backup plan.
That's like LA Wallet, having your license on your wallet.
So great.
I love that, but I also keep my physical one just in case. And then Apple Wallet or Android Wallet, whatever you have. Yeah. There are times where I think to myself, I don't need to bring my wallet down at this moment, even though I usually keep it in my back pocket. I'm like, I'm just going to Apple Pay it. But there's that 1%, 2% chance that Apple Pay just doesn't work, or like their system or their internet is down. I'm like, God. So like, I try to use any kind of near field technology if I can, but always keep the physical just in case. But like having to take the physical out feels so archaic. I'm like,
I love doing everything from the phone now.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
I do that as much as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So one last thing I'm seeing right here, and this is an interesting. I'm gonna try to pronounce the word right. Is you self-identify as a cultural gastronomist? Gastronomist. Yes. Okay.
The field of gastronomy.
So explain that. Gastronomy, is that beer?
Food. Basically everything that is gastronomic, that is that pertains to food and drink, and that you ingest for pleasure.
So gastro and like
Same root word as a gastropub or just gastronomy. So the cultural gastronomist is just like a studier of food and drink and culture. And I look at it kind of as a celebrator of those things as well, as somebody who really is trying to celebrate, study, research, talk about, enjoy the world of food and beverage.
Yeah. Dude, I love it. I love the name. It's I've never seen the term before. I've seen gastro pubs and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I was like, is that I never really looked up the term, so I was like, gastro. I know gastrointestinal, stuff like that, and that deals with food and drink. But it's interesting that
more on the digestion side there. I guess. But that's the same root of those words. Gastronomy is kind of that study of food and drink and culture.
Yeah. All right. Last thing, and then because we're just over an hour, and I want to kind of be respectful of your time. I know you have to travel back. If you're not going to eat here, you're probably going to travel back.
I'm having lunch in Lafayette.
Okay. Cool. Well, where are you going to go? Do you have an idea?
I'm actually meeting a friend of mine named Megan, who's the taproom manager of Parish Brewing. We're going to meet at Brodus.
Nice. Dude, Brodus, Sean Brodus is such an amazing guy.
Sweet.
Yeah. So,
hopefully he's there.
If he's there, definitely let him know that I spoke with you, because he's trying to do, and I haven't even mentioned this, but he's trying to do another location in Lafayette, and he's going to, not just burgers, but he's getting into sweets and dessert stuff too. So
nice.
But if you see him, definitely let him know that you and I just got through a podcast, because I've been trying to get him on, but he's so busy.
Gotcha.
Okay. So with your travels and all of that good stuff, do you see yourself staying in South Louisiana?
As my home, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not planning on moving anywhere else anytime soon. I have no plans to.
You're not married or anything like that, right?
I'm not. I want to travel. Living in Louisiana is actually probably the best thing for me, because then like I can be home for the holidays and things of those. Like if I was spending my travel budget to come home because I was living somewhere else, then I couldn't go other places.
Right.
I would just be wherever else I am. I'm trying to travel as much as I can. I think this year I'm probably only going to be home 6 months and be on the road for 6 months. And I am actually working on Airbnb-ing my house in Baton Rouge and things like that. Different side of the travel world, but because if I'm not going to be there, I might as well have the house making money for me. So there's stuff like that I'm looking at. But yeah, trying to really figure out this next chapter where I can make money on the road. The jambalaya pop-ups are going to be a big part of that, doing the travel agent stuff that I can be traveling and checking in with other people on helping them book their trips at the same time. I've also got a trip to Italy planned right now.
Nice.
That's the end of June, beginning of July. All this travel stuff, if people go to jducote.com and click on the travel tab, there's all this stuff, but the trip to Italy is basically Milan to Venice, and it's through a company called Trova Trip that helps organize these like group tour vacations. But you get to go with me and eat and drink in Italy for 6 days. So I'm quite looking forward to that. jducote.com/travel for that. I got 4 more spots to get it completely booked and confirmed. So I need some people to come with me. Y'all come join.
I'm showing your website right now so that people can definitely check it out. But yeah, man, I look forward to seeing what you got going on and following along your jambalaya tour and whatever else you do, because it's a lot. Like, you have chef, traveler, speaker, storyteller, culinary personality, and cultural gastronomist.
There you go.
I got
Nailed it.
All right. Well, Jay, it was great having you on, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come out. And I knew I had an inkling. I was like, he's probably gonna find a place to eat here. I gotta ask him where, because I was thinking it's probably gonna be downtown because there's Spoonbill.
I do love Spoonbill.
Yeah, Spoonbill's great. There's Vestal.
Vestal, Ryan and the team over there are just awesome. I've gotten to eat there a few times.
And then they have a new place that opened up called Sunday's Soda Fountain.
Okay, have not been there yet.
It opened in early November.
Gotcha.
So they actually make their own sodas there.
Nice.
So you can't. I don't think you can get Coke there, but like you can get a version of what is
a
Coke.
cola. Yeah.
Yep. And they do, of course, shakes, and they do they do have a lunch menu, but it's very old-fashioned, old-world soda fountain kind of vibes. And they have soda jerks there with the little white little hats and the little outfits.
That's downtown.
Downtown, right off of Jefferson Street, like basically. Where Vestal is, it's on that same side as Vestal, but I can't remember if it's further down or it might be just slightly further down.
Okay.
But if you have a moment before you leave to go pass by there, great local owners, and the floor actually has. It used to be an old soda fountain back in like the mid-century.
Wow.
And the floor is an old like small tile floor, and there's a worn area where people used to walk back in like decades ago.
Yeah.
And they kept that old floor because it was like part of history. It's really, really neat. And they've done a great job of like making the place feel very nostalgic, but also there's a modern twist. You can get spiked sodas and drinks there too. So maybe check that out while you're in town.
Might be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, cool, Jay. It was good to have you on, man. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great lunch.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That is it. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcast and all the other places where you get them. And so I hope you enjoyed this episode. And with that, we are going to be headed out because as we have both been talking about food, my stomach is turning, saying go eat. So we're out. So talk to y'all later.